welcome to the very latest edition of the Premier View Tipperary GAA podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Premier View podcast, episode number 126. And it's a case of what a difference a week makes, as Tipperary's Munster Championship hopes are very much alive due to a late showing, which means we leave Walsh Park with a very important point. Plenty of this to discuss in this match, Ben. I'm joined by Michael, Sean and Stephen as we hold court on it. We're not going to go directly into the referee, and we're going to make this about Tipperary first of all. Resilience would be the key word, Sean. There, it was great to see. Maybe 64 minutes it was level, but then Waterford kicked on. Tipperary came storming back into it then with a late goal.
Yeah. Like Stephen there said last week on the pod, like he wanted to win and didn't mind how we got it. I think that kind of draw would be similar as well. Didn't mind how we got it. Had to dig in like against all odds. We wanted to discuss other kind of factors later on, but last minute or two there, we're winning ball, dirty ball. You know, weren't winning it clean for the fourth time to actually get the ball in hand, but there's someone showing for it. Bonner was fighting down the corner, tying it. Like, there's lads that are putting the ball in line, even prior to like Connolly in the build up. Like, so I think leaving with the point, for many, it felt like not a win, but it felt like it's a massive point with everything else going against you. And like, and a bit more buzz around even after game and last number of days now from chatting to lads. Like, there was real negativity all week. There's lads not even bother going, there's lads giving tickets away for free. But now there's a few messages got in, lads looking for car tickets there for Sunday weekend. You know, that can be a positive thing, but fair play to Tipp for digging in. At the end of the game, Cal was giving it fucking sock. There's anyone, I say he was kind of relief, but yet proud of how they dug in with everything going against him, like, and how the boys inside like kept it cool at the time, to be honest. But they dug in and like to get that score again at the end, and again it was a free. That's saying it was a soft free, but Ross get some free, but we transferred our prior to that. But mighty impressed, like positively going into Sunday week now, and it is back on the bandwagon, as the lads will say.
Yeah, and you could tell really, I suppose, the fighting spirit kind of came from the sideline in the first. Liam Cahill definitely poked every ball there, Stephen, like, and you know, maybe he cut a dispirited figure against Limerick, and certainly the comments afterwards were like, you know, it wasn't maybe a rallying call. He might have been seen as being too honest, you know, and there, like, you might be thinking, but you know, he definitely was a different figure on Saturday, and it really, I think, transmitted to the team, you know, that he was there poking every ball, fighting his corner, like, you know, and I think the team, I think what you said was what we wanted to see fight, you know, hallmark of Tipperary. We got that and more. They are, you know, they're not a perfect team, but you happy with what you saw on Saturday?
Absolutely. Work in progress. We hit the right levels of passion, commitment, desire, you know, and it's shone through. Even when Watford got the run there in the second half, they never died. They kept going, you know, they kept fighting. There was always support play. And like, you know, they were under massive pressure from the week before, because questions will always have to be asked of Tipperary and management when a performance goes in like the one against Limerick. Like, it's Tipperary. We should never accept mediocrity, you know, and it didn't go well for the boys against Limerick and the 6-day turnaround, and they really, really showed what they were really made of against Waterford. And like I said last week, we needed a win, but I left Walsh Park there. I was absolutely buzzing for how they performed, you know, to get a draw against. I won't go into it too much, but to get a draw against the circumstances that were put in front of them on the hurling field.
We'll unpick it later.
We'll get there first, but as you said, we'll speak about Tipperary first, and you know, and they fully deserved it. And let's be honest, they were very unlucky not to win the game. You know, they did a lot of good scoring, a lot of, you know, they were a very high scoring team. You know, we looked chalk and cheese from the week before. We looked like a brand new team because we questioned management last week. And, you know, Liam is a very passionate man, and probably throwing a camera up in his face straight after that performance last week, you know, he'll obviously learn from it, like, you know what I mean? And it was great for the neutrals. They had something to whinge about, and it's great for the anti-Liams but probably not great for Liam himself that it was thrown up in his face in that situation. But there was question marks over players. Should this fella start? Should that fella start? Because a lot of them had bad games last week, and to a man, most of them answered critics last weekend on Sunday, and it was absolutely brilliant to see. And I think if we can get the right levels of passion, desire, and commitment for every game, I think the hurling will follow it, because no matter what people say about we don't have the hurl, I think we do have the hurlers. Maybe winning All Ireland is too soon for us. It might take a few years to build to that level, but we certainly have the hurlers to compete, and we showed it there on Sunday.
Yeah, and Mike, would you agree with a lot of that? Maybe like like we're definitely in the mix now for Munster qualification, and I think the whole county needed a shot in the arm. The under-20s probably set the tone for the weekend on Friday evening. But yeah, the lads definitely stepped up in Walsh Park.
They certainly did, Kevin, and I think that was very evident from just as the ball was being thrown in. I mean, last week the game started as a whimper, whereas on Saturday, I think it was Mikey Kiley hit Craig Morgan coming across the field, and Barrett made a beeline for him. And after maybe 10 seconds, the three Waterford lads were dumped on the ground. Michael Breen was standing over his men, staring down at him. And I thought that set a tone that was a whole pile different to what had gone on the week before. And I think we started well. Kind of the narrative is that Waterford started well because they got the 1-1, but I thought we did very well. The penalty was soft, I thought. But maybe was a penalty. I think at the same time, but anyway, you said you would get onto refereeing decisions later, but I really liked the way we played, and we went out. We were strong at the back. Ronan was very commanding at centre back. The forwards were excellent, I thought, in their harrying and their work rate, which we really wanted. I thought our midfielders were excellent. Alan Tynan, I know everyone's talking about Mark Keogh and Ronan. I thought Alan Tynan was our best player in the middle of the field because he put so much into the game, and I think he finished with 3 points, and Owen Connolly had got 2 points. Played very well, and I was surprised when he was taken off, but I think maybe he would just ran out of gas. Maybe the GPS had said it was time to go or whatever. But and then to finish the way we did, going down to 4 points and getting the 1-1, and as Sean said there, like Cahill was animated, but lads, if you saw Noel McGrath, he was all over the place. I mean, he you could nearly see the foam coming out his mouth and the joy on his face afterwards. Like he was a real leader in the second half on the field, and when he was taken off, he was a cheerleader on the sideline. Like, and that really showed the rest of the boys like what it's about for them lads playing for Tipp. And I like the lad said, buzzing coming out of Walsh Park with the draw, because I think people only realised then afterwards we got a point from our 2 away games and we've 2 home games coming, and like it was an awful start to have to go away to Limerick and go away to Waterford. And so it's great to have maybe a Cork team that possibly could be out. But even if they're not out, even like if they beat Limerick coming up, it opens up the championship, and like they're coming to town. We'd love to be taking them on. Like, as I love when Stephen says we are Tipperary, like, and that's we are Tipperary. Like, we're not afraid of anybody. Bring them on, whoever it is.
I'd actually be more wary of Cork with nothing to play for, like, and just been told, like, it's a quick enough turnaround for whatever reason after being scarred from the Waterford game last year. I think it is, like, it's maybe not like a dead rubber in a league game or whatever. Like, they would still have a point to prove, and they would be a wounded animal. But look, we'll maybe talk about that kind of next week. There's plenty of water for going under the bridge before that.
Well, I would imagine if Cork do get bet, that the Harnedies and the Hoggies and whoever else won't be playing against Tipp. It'll be the young lads with a point to prove for next year. It won't be. It won't be the team that we've seen in the 3 games so far. Like, and let's face it, they weren't really bad against Clare either. Like, they had their own James Owens issues against Clare. So
yeah, now that you mentioned it, I suppose, Mike, we better go in and look. I suppose, again, not to be the apologist too much, but there was maybe issues on both sides. Was one of maybe the start was Bonner lucky. I'd say probably not. There that it was, like someone saying it's like I call it a modern day red card. Tipp scored the goal from it was a square ball. Again, like, came back off the keeper, probably a few nodding heads, yeah. But I think certainly the majority of the decisions, the big calls went against Tipperary in favour of Waterford, starting with that with the first goal there, were working their way onto maybe to Mark Yo. Penalty not given into I suppose the second half then with a soft enough free you'd call it, could have been a throw in. I think it was for sitting on the ball, was it? In the or God, James Owens
Yeah,
knows. And then like probably Tipperary a little bit of sleep or from the actual free. But yeah, that's again, you don't want to be kind of jumping on a big bandwagon, being too harsh on a referee. But like, it's starting off with the penalty. It's one of the oddest things I've seen. And you only really see it in the behind the goal footage of how in line he was with Barry Hogan, or how much of a distraction he was in that penalty.
when the penalty was took, I turned to the brother and I said, I was looking at Mo, and then one of the other lads, all the Davin crowd was seemed to be in the one area, but said, did the keeper just run across the ref just run across the keeper there? So I knew I wasn't seeing things, and it was just the strangest thing I've ever seen a referee do. But then when I see it, when I went home and rewatched the game, it was far worse than I even thought. The ball was in the air from the lift, getting lined up to actually strike it, and the referee was in line with the keeper. Now, I'm I'm seeing online that Barry Hogan should have went bananas at the ref, but what could he have done? The ref is not going to change his mind there. So that's not on the Tipp goalkeeper to remonstrate with the ref. That was one of the poorest decisions a referee has ever made. And I'm not going to go down the route of abusing him, but I'm going to talk honestly about his performance the weekend. And he's not going to get a free pass because he might have got a tip square ball wrong at the end, or he might have got a. I don't believe it was a handy
I
free.
think
I think
Shane
Alan
McGrath early
Tynan was
on, he called that
genuinely
call an
fouled.
absolute disgrace. So
What's that?
he called that penalty incident an absolute disgrace. So
It shouldn't have. It
that's
should never have been a penalty. Michael Kiley came over the top of the tip man dipping the ball, and he snatched it. It was lovely. It was great, and just momentum took him down. If that was a penalty, 100% Marky Hose was a penalty. Marky Hose was worse. And then if he the excuse is that he could make the decision, he was so far away, his two umpires shouldn't be umpiring that matches again because they were right there and they bottled it. That's the bottom line. They bottled that decision. There was numerous other decisions. There was a third man tackle on on Brian
the
O'Mara
second goal.
that led to the second goal. And then whatever about if you say he might have missed it because when you're eyeing the ball is when your eyes on the ball you could easily miss it even when you're watching on telly. But to go back then and book the Watford man for the third man tackle, like that's another bottle job from the umpire from the linesman. The linesman should have said there was a foul there in the build up to that goal. You know,
Yeah,
it's terrible officiating, like, and it's terrible help from the umpires and the linesmen to the referee. We understand the referee have a tough job. It's a big pitch. The ball travels 100 mile an hour, 100 yards. He needs help and that's their job to do it. And he's not getting help at all. That's not deflecting from his poor performance because he is. I say we could dedicate a whole pod onto how bad he performed on so, and it's not fair on the lads that are taking to the field.
yeah, and Mike, maybe I'll ask your call for on the second incident in particular as well. But definitely, I don't think there was a throw blown for as well on Saturday. So is that just rule just being struck now?
No, there was one at the very end. I think it was Connor Bowe maybe in a tackle.
Right, so one again.
That
That's I think one
Well, there was
adding to
one,
the
yeah,
end
there was
again.
one.
Yeah,
Actually, with the amount of
oh, you're
throws in
right.
the two games, it was tipped to have been blown for two of them. So the stats would say we're the worst, and I don't know. It's crazy.
The second
Um,
one, would you be, the second goal?
the second goal with the third man tackle.
Yes, would
Um,
you allowed it?
no, it shouldn't have been allowed. Now I like Stephen would blame the linesman in this scenario. They're mic'd up. He called him afterwards and told him about the third man tackle, but I don't know why he didn't. He went over and he booked who Darrell Lyons
Mahoney
was it
was.
or Mahoney, yeah,
Kevin
he went
Mahoney,
and
I
booked
think, yeah.
yeah, went and booked him. So the linesman obviously had seen it. Why he didn't flag at the time, because if you remember, was it in one of the league semi-finals, somebody hopped the ball in their hand, and the referee just couldn't have seen it, and the umpire or the linesman called it, and everybody was saying, "Brilliant work from the officials. Why didn't it happen in this case?" Um, so like I don't know, James Owens might have missed it, and actually, if you look at the video of it, it's the clip of it. It just happens just off camera. It's actually on the line of the camera. You can see where he shields him out of getting to the ball. So a brilliant ball from Desi across into Jack Prendergast, and he buried it. But no, it should have been called back.
Cayman Flynn had time, like, as in, it wasn't like the incident happened 14 yards out from goal. Like, Cayman Flynn could have said in his ear, James, turn attack it free there, stop the play. Like, it was a few seconds after. Like, it wasn't like he hadn't a chance to think of what happened. Like, he did see it, so he's thinking about it even when Desi was playing the ball across the goal to score. Like, that's what I just can't fathom. Like, why did he delay his reaction?
And
He
Sean
should have flagged straight away. Like,
Yeah.
Yes, you're all in agreement on that one. Sean, the third goal as well, or like the goal from the free. Again, maybe a few myths of to why he gave a free in there. Barry Hogan, that came off of Barry Hogan's save.
Oh, yeah. Again, it's probably one of the smaller instances in the game, but if it happened on its own, it'd be big, because everything was so big. They were given, like, it was just, I knew when they hit down that point as well, is going to give a free. Anything that was half, maybe a free, was being given. Like, there's no even run in the mill about that. It was just a bit sloppiness from ourselves as well, I think, as well, to be honest.
I'd be bullying if I was over a team and they did that from a 21-yard free, because like tap it. I just think it's so full of risk. Like, but I suppose, look, you have to say fair play to him.
But I saw the space. I was looking across to the right, and I saw. I was like, Jesus! And then, like, he's hardly going to play a short. I was like, no, he's not. But on the tip, no one even kind of made a move back, even counter that. It was well planned, but the thing is now they won't get away with it again. Like, they've used that trick, and that's it. But, like,
I'd be disappointed with our setup on the D. Like, we
no one there.
Really should have a defender on each end of the D. Like, so that sort of thing can't happen. Like, we should be there. Our midfielders or whoever happens to be there should be the first guys in if they go for goals.
Even for the rebound as well. Like, we would have been caught if it actually came out for rebound. It was still going to be goal.
Yeah.
Was there another one? Did Desi Hutchison go for a goal?
Mispucked that one.
Yeah, it was a mispuck.
Yeah, it's a miss. I think that was just a brain factor of the defenders for the third goal. But it wasn't a free. We were on the 50 up on that end of the field, and you could clearly see the ball beside Barry Hogan's
right foot
leg when he was down on the ground.
Yeah, right leg.
Yeah, right. Because I was thinking, there's a tip man now just going to roll, lift this, and walk away. And all of a sudden he blew the whistle. And you're like, we were thinking it must be a free out. Had to have been. Because the lads were down on the ground, but you could clearly see the ball on outside his right leg. There was you couldn't say he was lying on the ball. And he didn't jump. Like, you could be pushed down on the ground and it's not your fault. He didn't jump down to cover the ball. It was another terrible decision. But as Sean said, it was one of many, so it's not that.
And
it's
as
not
well, the other one then, the call Barrett was in for some real rough treatment there. Like the two challenges on him, like either one of them could have been in on its own a red card.
Yeah, chopped down first and then a full frontal.
Would you have too many complaints if one of them was given?
And in fairness, Barrett got up after the first one, like, and went again, and he got spun again, like, and he's looking there, he's like, jeez. He got kind of right in line.
We got a free off that, didn't we not?
No, we got a free from the next.
They got a score off.
Wall broke, didn't it?
Wexford got a score off it. Like, these are huge decisions in games. Like, as been mentioned online, like, Cathal Bar can't even buy a free anymore. Like, the two, well, I suppose the yellow card he got for wrestling the man to the ground was spotted by the umpires. They could spot that all right, but they can't spot that else throughout the field. Like, it's frustrating because like, I felt we had to do more to earn a free than Walford did. There was a clear dive at one stage in the second half. It was a clear dive. Maybe we're not. Yeah, maybe we're not.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not sneaky enough. Maybe we're not going down as easy and roaring for the referee. Maybe we're too honest. but it was frustrating. And then Davy played a blinder then by highlighting the two decisions that he felt kept tipping the game with that square ball and the free on Alan Tynan. And it totally glossed over how bad a performance it was against Tipperary.
Yeah, and I suppose maybe to kind of change again, looking back to ourselves, Barry Hogan was a lad that came in for a bit of criticism, I suppose, in Limerick. Does he make big saves? But I think, you judge a keeper on two aspects. One is puck outs. I think we're fairly decent. I think we got, again, the stats say we got a lot of scores off our puck outs.
I'd be a big detractor, Kevin. I'm not a fan, but I thought he was excellent on Saturday. His puck outs were very, very, very good, and he made one crucial kind of interception save in the first half, and then that save in the second half, one-handed over his head. I thought that was an excellent save as well. No, I think Barry Hogan certainly had a very, very good game. At the
I
weekend.
think his puck as well, he seemed to, where he looked first, he knew the man was there, and he kind of, in Limerick was kind of stalling a bit, and then stood back and looked again, and then there's nothing on. He kind of went to his gut thing in Waterford, and we made the runs as well, and he found a man perfectly there. Even under the uncover standards, he hit some peaches out, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
there was definitely a long tactic as well, because I did see was it Bevans or Cahill at one stage came down the line and just told him just long, you could see him doing long the whole time, so that was a definite tactic, especially in the first half.
Yeah, defensive setup better for you as well. Look, Colbar coming in would help any team. Ronan back out.
Yeah, for me anyway, like Colbar is a huge leader. He rubs people up the wrong way with the way he hurls, but he's the kind of person you want on your team all day, every day. Really aggressive, like no nonsense, and a damn good hurler too.
Did
and
Ronan
there was
McGrath get
question.
man the match?
What was that?
Did Ronan Mar?
Jamie Barron, I thought, got it.
Right.
I think one of the Waterford lads.
Or Darragh Lyons. Darragh Lyons got it, was it?
Yes.
Darragh Lyons, I think.
Yeah,
it was one of
James Owens, I thought.
But we saw the benefits of having Ronan further out the field, even though at times with all the movement going on, he'd be at the 21 at one stage, but under a high ball, being in the middle with his power, like Ronan wouldn't be the fastest fellow over 60 yards, but try and stop him over 5 or 6 with a ball in his hand. You're only going backwards, and I thought he really, really showed the captain's gave a captain's inspiration performance. And I have to touch on it as well, Marky Ho. I could be a critic of Marky Ho because I think he have all the ingredients, but we don't see it every day. He was brilliant. I thought he was brilliant the other, and what might have been missed on camera was his power. He put Tyke de Burke on his hole there at one stage in the first half, and like Tyke de Burke has no shrinking violet, like, you know what I mean? And he was brushing lads off, and I thought he had a great game, and I have to give huge credit to him for the way he performed, especially in the first half when the referee was doing his best. But, Mark was there and he was popping the ball, he was keeping our scoreboard ticking over, and I thought he had an excellent game now, and I have to give him huge credit for the performance against Waterford.
Nobody doubted Kyo's ability. It's his consistency, and we could have all said, I think I said it in one of the groups, that he could end up with 1-4 against Waterford. It's what he does the day after is what's key with Merck. And like, obviously the whole 15 or 18 were off it against Limerick, and they were certainly all on it at the weekend. It's how we perform now against Cork, like, so. The surprise factor will be gone off Kyo going into Cork.
And our midfielder, Tyne and Conley, brought some energy as well. Like, like they were just hitting lads that were trying to come to the middle. Even a lot of times the tacklers may not have won the ball, but they were throwing the Waterford man off. The ball may have dropped or spilled. They're in people's faces. We need to see her on the middle of the field there.
I think it was flagged up last week that Tynan is probably a better midfield option than wing forward again. Like, he's just pure, power kind of pace, like running excellent. Every team would needs players like that, strong players up the middle.
And he looked like a lad that could go for another 15 or 20 minutes. You'd see a savage engine on him. Fair play. And Ronan Connolly had a great start to the game, great first half. Them late runs from the middle down through the middle, they're so hard to stop. He at full flow, gathering the ball, tapping it over the bar. It hurts teams, and he was fantastic at them late runs, and you can see he emptied himself because lads around me were on about, he shouldn't have been taking him off. But if you watch a fellow who empties himself, when they get off the field or when they get close to the sideline, you see how heavy the legs get then, because they're allowed to relax a little, and he put in a savage shift in the middle of the field. And, a few of the boys had a big question mark over from the Limerick game, and they really stood up. And as great as Daisy Hutchinson was the other day, I thought Craig Morgan had a right good game on him. Forwards of that level, when the ball is played in right, they're going to score. They're going to create havoc. But he was far better. He was like a different player from the week before, and I think that's whatever they did in training during the week. I think it's a huge credit to them all to be able to put the Limerick game to bed and concentrate and get up emotionally, physically, and mentally for the Waterford game. A huge credit to all the boys.
And just maybe like tiny bit of free taking issues again. Maybe Jason Ford missed I think he missed 265s off it. Just seems a bit not firing on all cylinders at the moment.
He certainly seems off it. It's probably his form is a real concern, and he missed was it a free or a shot from the sideline there in front of the covered stand, and straight away Cahill and Beavens nodded at each other and the change was made. They were, and Garrod O'Connor took it. Now he didn't get any free. I think both his frees were on the 21 in front of the goal. A dream for a free taker going on the frees. But I think his form is a real concern. I would say he's definitely lost the free taking duties going into the next game. Whether he survives his starting position, I suppose, will depend on how he trains over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the games are so tight that 65s have to be scored. This thing and even ones he's missing are kind of when he's standing over and kind of going, he might miss these, but they're critical. Especially when these games are so tight going down home straight as well. You say Connor and he tap over, so I don't know whether he would have actually got good ones either. So it's something we need to look at, or let the boys hit a couple hundred balls there trading next 2 weeks, whatever. How are you going to do it?
Ronan went on the long range ones and he nailed one of them, and he hit one of them wide. But he looks like he's that option on the long rangers anyway. Well, going by the second half. And in fairness to Ronan, I don't think he had no wide from general play. He delivered everything back, and he landed a one in the first half when he was on his own. But that's a significant improvement, I would say, for Ronan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the long range frees, I said it in the group before that I don't like the free taker taking the long range free as his first one, because if it don't go, it just puts that little chink. It puts a little bit more pressure on the next one. Now it's okay for Ronan to miss the first long range free because his game is not centered around a 95% free taking. They'll probably go with Garrod the next day, and you can't blame the management for making that decision. But even with Garrod, if they go with Garrod the next day, if there's a free from 70 meters out and it's straight in front of the goal, I'd still leave Ronan Maher hit it, because I always think the first free should be a comfortable free for your main man, because if we get 12 frees in the game, you want them scoring 10, 11, and it's a difference maker. We had a real bad day against Clare. We wouldn't bet that badly, but we missed all our frees. We missed a few scoreable frees against Waterford. They're difference makers, having your free takers confidence soaring.
But yeah, let's wrap up on that one, lads. The vibes are definitely positive. I mean, the county maybe expected, and they definitely delivered. Didn't get the win, but still in the championship. The Munster Championship does move on now, lads. We've Cork versus Limerick. That is a must-win game for Cork the weekend. GAAGo.
Sorry, Kevin. Before you move off it, the timing of our Portugal trip, did that have an effect on our energy levels against Limerick, and were we fine then for Waterford? And if we come away with 3 wins, is this a masterstroke by Cahill? The lateness of the Portugal trip.
Are you saying was the Limerick game kind of go down and our championship was starting against Waterford and then Cork,
we like every other county kind of went during the Easter break. We came
Yeah.
back on the Thursday, and the following Sunday week we were playing Limerick. And like,
Mm.
let's face it, we were dead on our feet against
Mm.
Limerick.
Liam Carr's playing 4D chess with us. Hope you're all right.
Was that might have been a did we not go the Thursday after the league semi-final? No, would they not been able to
Oh,
actually book it until they knew whether we be playing a league final?
well, we went Monday to Thursday or Sunday night to Thursday, so I don't
So
think it
Monday we
made any
left, yeah.
difference. Yeah, Monday. We were back. It was a Thursday night or Friday morning or something. So
Yeah, I suppose the
Less
truth
than
is,
10 days
I don't
recovery.
know. He might be claiming it if they do claim, like
We'll
say
know against Cork in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, 5
but I'm
points.
wondering, did that have an effect on the Limerick game, I suppose, rather than the rest of them? Because like we looked like different players in the 6 days.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah.
I think we just kind of got it wrong against Limerick. Maybe we thought we'd be playing a wounded Limerick, like, coming off a short turnaround after a big battle with Clare, and that when, like, yeah, for whatever reason the day like was a wet kind of, we never raised the gallop, like.
Like, and now we're going to have selection headaches versus Cork, like, because even the subs that came on made an impact. So, like, we were there last week saying we'll pick team because everyone was so bad. But now, again, a lot of them are impact subs, like Bonner and John McGrath come on. But, like, Corbin Keneally as well, and even Willie Kerry came on for Colony, who probably legs were gone, he said, maybe. But, like, there are going to be selection issues again there, I say, for Sunday week.
But
So there
maybe
should be.
again, maybe before we leave it as well, just to raise the key goal, the key score, because we were looking like that we were heading out, and great kind of poacher's finish, if you like, was obviously watching Senan Butler in the under-20s from the Friday. Like the forward just thinking always alert.
Yeah, that goal and the lead into that goal was a marked difference from what had happened during the game, where we took easy points when there was potentially goal opportunities on. But at that point, Mark Keogh knew we had to go for a goal. He popped off to Jake Morris, who had the shot, and Kennelly was there. Was he in the square? I actually don't think. The still would say that he probably was, but it's so hard to see on the camera work anyway whether he
And
was in
look,
or
as we
not.
saw from the Galan one against Clare, that you can actually cover a lot of ground in the space that the ball
Yeah.
travels.
And I would prefer. I actually was happy that the two Galan or those two goals were given in the Limerick game the same as this one, because the advantage should go to the attacking team, I think,
Yeah.
in these scenarios. Because like if you go back and you look at the Limerick ones, we'll still say, some people will still say he was in the square, and others would say he wasn't. So if it's that up in the air, you have to give the advantage to the attacking team.
Yeah, it
But
is,
I like,
goals that they are hallmark of the previous Liam Carroll teams as well. So it is a good sign maybe that we're starting to penetrate a bit more.
yeah, well,
But even the attitude down that side was that Jake Morris, prior to that line ball, I remember he missed the line ball, he just
oh
hit
yeah,
away. And then, but the next ball down there, Seth and Keogh then just took it on. They were like, right, we're not fucking messing this up again, like, when he hit that ball away, just, oh, Jesus. But anyway, they made up for it then, a few minutes later. But, that was the thing,
yeah.
like,
Well,
as in, they could look a handy score and said, right, I'll pop it over, try and win the puck, I'll get a goal, like, but he was like, no.
yeah, there was a in the first half there, Jake Morris dispossessed his marker, and he lettered the ball over the bar. But I think there was a goal chance there if he'd have carried it on. Owen Connolly's, I think it was his second point. He went to the right, sidestep to the right, and threw it over. When if he'd have stayed going and popped off, there was a chance of a goal. So I think that's
Dara
probably
had a
something
right
that.
chance as well, actually,
Well, he went for it and was saved, I suppose. But
Mm.
like those points we took
Oh,
could
yeah.
potentially have been goals, and I would say Cahill will look at that and say, in those scenarios, I want you to be more ruthless and go for it. Like,
Cork versus Limerick next weekend, lads. Are we all team green for this one?
Yeah.
Or would it just be nice to see him beaten?
It's a strange one, isn't it? You don't want to be
Yeah.
supporting Limerick at all. But like you made the point earlier on, it's nearly better for Cork to be coming to Semple Stadium with something to play for, because they're struggling. They're struggling under pressure. You know, they could come up to they come up to Semple Stadium now, gone out of the championship, and they could hurl it. They could run ragged up there. You don't know where you want to be, and you're worried then that like we're still trying to find consistency
On a
levels
line
every
through
game.
Waterford, there's probably not too much between us and Cork.
No, and looking at last year, sure, it was a draw again, so and we that was a cracking game last year down in the park, like so. Yeah, who do we want to win it? I don't know. Like, ideally,
Look,
you would say Cork gone and have them out of the
Yeah.
way would be best. But like as Stephen said, I think is it 8 or 9 games Cork have lost by one score or less in the last couple of years. So there, like that's not bad hurlers. That's a mental fragility, like down the
mhm.
stretch that they can't get over the line in those tight games. Maybe they want
I
Caroline Currid as well. Like,
I think that that desperation for the win showed up against Clare last week. When it's a Barrett, the centre forward, was running through in goal. They were on top. They had Clare on the ropes. He was running through on goal. The man was to his right, and he ended up trying to take an awkward shot that went wide. And for me, it was
Yeah.
game over had he passed the ball off. It was game
If it
over.
was
Clare were on the ropes. They just needed to be boxed. And
whoever was in the centre of it had his arms open. I think
you
it was
know,
Honey.
and that brought me back to the lads' heyday when Shane McCallum be run through and you give the ball out to Bubbles or vice versa or Noel. I think if that was one of them in that situation, the correct ball was going to be given and that was game over. That would have been Cork right back in the championship. And I think there's that little bit of a desperation for the win. And I still feel that Cork aren't physically, they're not physically strong enough, as in they'd if two men were going in for a ruck and ball, one Cork man would stand out and say, "There's a Cork man in there already." Whereas you're going to get Limerick now, four of them going looking for that ball. I think Cork are lacking that little bit of steel. They've runners and they've hurlers all over the place, but you have to have that bit of physical steel, and I think they're lacking that.
Limerick have 4 points, so they're probably qualified, I'd say. So I think it's probably just better off that they win and knock
Hmm.
Cork out. That's probably
Yeah,
the
but
best
that
result
also
for.
means that they'll probably be playing a B team versus Waterford in their last game.
Don't know, do Limerick do B teams? And the for as much as they've won, we're still the only team that has done 4 out of 4 in the Munster Championship back in 2019. So maybe if they do
Oh,
win, we put that narrative out there so that they put out their best team to beat Waterford.
Mhm. So I
And they
don't. Yeah,
probably and the thing is, say it to be Cork, the one's finals down for the 9th or the 10th June. That's 2 weeks
Ninth,
after. Like, he
ninth.
won't want his players to have that kind of lapse without having a competitive game. It is a long stretch from Cork to a potential Munster final. So I think Limerick play Cork, and I'll take it. And we
yeah.
have to beat
Worry
our
about the
games,
next
win our
game
games
then.
anyway. That's all I want. What the fuck?
I
Yeah,
suppose the one thing is
I
if Cork lose, the support won't come to Thurles.
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I, I think the sooner Cork are gone, the better. And if they're gone before the Tipp game,
Mm.
it's better for us. It's one less obstacle. Like I think we focused a little bit too much on Limerick and positional play and the position of players and who's going to detail. I think it looked like we focused only on ourselves at the weekend, and like even the Barrett was only back from injury, and he's not long back from injury, but it could have been easy to put him over on Desi. He's a more experienced man. It was like, no, we're playing how we want to play, and whatever happens after that. And I think that's what Tip should do now. Like, we want Cork gone, and we'll take care of our own business in our own, hopefully in our own house, and that should see us through.
Because
I suppose
Davy roaring
the
there
thing
about
is,
the house. As
Yeah.
Davy
yeah,
shouting at the players coming in. They're coming into our house. It's the most third-hand
bullying us in
embarrassment.
our house.
Yeah.
Bully!
Yeah.
Don't let them
Hey,
bully us in our
it'd
house.
be great for
Jesus.
the end of year DVD. It'd be a great trailer for it or whatever, like the Netflix documentary.
Well, I think
As
regardless of the result at the weekend, the Cork game is a must win for us. So it doesn't matter
yeah,
whether
Yeah,
Cork are in or out. We
yeah,
still
Mhm.
we have to win it. It's not.
yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I
So
mean. We take care of our own business and forget
Yeah.
about, if Cork win this and Watford win that and the Limerick B team going to forget about all that. We
And
get our
it'll be
business
it's a
sorted.
different it's a different scenario from last year when we were, well, we were more or less qualified going into the Waterford game, even though it didn't transpire as we
yeah.
were all shouting for Limerick down in the last 5 minutes in the stand after the game came up. But it's different, we do
Mm.
need to win. That's the
Yeah. Speaking of Cork, they're up for the under 20s on Friday night. I suppose look, the under 20s are flying it, and they've been very, very impressive in all their games, but probably took their performances to a new level, beating a very fancy Cork side.
Yeah, their motor and it's excellent, and you
I was worried
know,
no one was going to come in there.
fair
Man,
fair,
Stephen.
fair play to management. They're under the microscope this year after such a poor year last year, and the boys are duly delivering. They're really really going well, and it's brilliant to see Tipperary underage teams doing well. It gives you a little bit of hope for the future and like a lot of those boys now will be eligible in the next couple of years for the senior. So to see him perform so well and look so comfortable as well is a real positive for Tip. Fair play to all the lads and management.
I like the way, like, that's kind of, as I watched the match here, if other lads, more lads are actually going to match Saturday, even looking at the game, we're like, Jesus, this is kind of giving Pip life. Even the way the forward run, that full forward line, McCarthy and Sennin, like, they were kind of playing with a bit of flair and desire, knowing that the goal is on and going for, like, and like, to beat a kind of Cork in their fancy by that score, what was it? 12 points then, was it? 11, 12 points, like, it's great. And I thought that brought a bit then to kind of hit people then on Saturday as well. There's kind of a bit of light there for kind of going maybe as underdogs and stuff.
it was the first loss that Cork had taken, say, between 17s and the 20s. I mean, they'd won their 3 games coming into Thurles, and like now it looks like they could probably finish third in the group, for all their, not that it makes any difference. Well, they'd have to go to Clare for the semi final if they're third, So, but like, yeah, I think you have to take huge encouragement from what the lads have done, like Cummins and Fintan O'Connor, Tom Cost and Paddy Saint. I mean, they were very animated. They're you can hear them all over the field. They're coaching from the sideline. And there's some phenomenal players on the team. I mean, like Darren McCarthy was very close to being in the panel for the weekend. Sinning with his 3-1. I thought the work rate out of the half forward line was top class. I think Sam O'Farrell is a huge player in the middle of the field. Like, he's got a real bright future ahead of him. And then, like, all the backs did their job. I thought the first day against Limerick, the Carrick man at full back, O'Halloran, looked a bit slow in the first 10 minutes, and he's thundered into it since. He's been excellent since that game. Um, and Dwyer, I don't know which one of the Dwyers that lad is, Podge Dwyer at cornerback, but another tenacious fucker. Like, I can't wait to see him in a senior jersey. So, and I said, I think I might have said it before, Owen Horgan has been excellent in the goals
Mm.
for the 20s, and he was
Couple of
brilliant
good
again the
saves
other
again.
night. Yeah, like, and his poke outs are deadly, and he puts enough sky in them that the lads are able to get to the breakdown once it's knocked to floor. I think there's a lot of good players that will eventually, I think step up, and maybe some sooner than later.
The minors lads had a loss against Clare, but plenty of promise in the performance as well. Conceded a few soft goals, maybe cost them in the end.
Yeah, I didn't see it now, Kevin, but I didn't see it live because we were training. But I saw the goals. Clubber had the goals up afterwards, and they looked fairly soft. Probably not the best day in the office for the poor goalie, but from what I can gather, like, we scored 19 points, they scored 4-11, so it's 19 scores to 15. That minor team has they produced very well in their previous 2 games. And like, you can never tell with young lads, especially now when they're like 16 and 17, that like these off days are going to happen. And from what I can gather, if there'd be no fear of meeting Clare again
Yeah, I think
down the
I
track.
was watching it there on Club or whatever it was on. It was I think it was Club. Yeah, I think they got it back. It might have been level or nearly level, and Tipp were roaring into one of those ones going for a point came down off the upright and then kind of tucked it into the net. Like it was a killer. I think that goal might have been the third one was a killer, or even
Yeah,
the
the
fourth one.
momentum killers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, again, I have no fear there. That they're moving well. I think that minor team.
Yeah.
I think it's four out of five go through. Then just reading during the week, I wasn't too familiar with the format.
Yeah, I think we're qualified for the All Ireland series, but if we win at the weekend or on Thursday night, is it against Clare, or not Clare, who
Limerick who are out.
Limerick who are
Yeah,
out, we're in the final. If the top two go to the final, and the next two are straight into the All Ireland
yeah. I think
series.
you need a bit of a goal different swing or score different swing. Life is easier on the Sunday game couch, lads, isn't it? By all accounts.
That's for sure. A
Gary
lot of
Neville
lads
of
finding that
hurling.
out.
The Gary Neville of hurling.
Turning to all things Leinster, lads. Leinster's cracking championship. It's anyone can beat anyone at the moment in Wexfording. Stephen, great win over Galway there.
We
What-
we called it last week, didn't we? They went down and got Bet Tantrum, but they could easily go down and beat Galway after Kenny. And there must be big pressure on Henry Shefflin up there, but I suppose it's probably the reason why Galway haven't been regular winners of All Irelands. That probably the microscope wouldn't be on them as much as it would if it was Tipperary that was losing to Wexford after Antrim beating Wexford the week before. But yeah, and with an extra man for 20 minutes of the game, I think it was, a really bad challenge on it was an
Yeah,
island, I think
Jesus.
it was, and
Now that's a red card.
you have to wonder what Henry Shefflin is doing up there, like,
Is he phoning it in, lads, up there?
like, well, is he go? Is he trying to sorry, forgive the word. Is he trying to copy what Brian Cody was doing, getting ready for a Leinster final and an assault on the All Ireland series? But it's Galway, so they mightn't be able to afford to do that, and especially losing to Wexford. So it'd be some kick in the hole for them if they don't make a Leinster final.
Is there a way they possibly won't make a Leinster final still, though? That Wexford Dublin that bad. Antrim could.
They're fourth at the moment. It was 2019. They didn't even come out of Leinster. Dublin beat
That was
them.
the
So
famous Dublin one. Was kind of
yeah.
ambushed them there
But
in the
yeah,
final
like
game.
Stephen is right. Shefflin is not a question answer here. Like Wexford were beaten by Antrim, and like this is crazy losing to Wexford. Like I got he has huge questions to answer. His placement of the team was all over the place. McInerney playing at wing back, bringing back Johnny Glynn. Like he's made some very, very questionable decisions. I would say.
Yeah,
Like
if you're like a Galway, have good few kind of under 20 teams, minor teams, kind of winning teams coming, and you're flying a lad back in from America or whatever. Like it was just as
they won four minors from 17 to 19 or 20. Like and there's only one of them starting.
We headed
Crazy.
that off early, and when I see Johnny Glynn I was like, I couldn't be reading this right. Like, no, you can't. Is this really happening? You know what I mean? If you're going back to that now, when there's so many young lads there waiting for a crack at it, you think, you're probably a young lad there now, and you probably can't wait to see the back of the manager. You probably feel like you're never going to get a chance, and that quenches the competitiveness in training because you think, sure, look, you're just going to go back to that lad again. And that's not good for the lads coming after, the lads that should be taking them spots. Eh, can a man flying in and out of America be ready for championship hurling? Obviously not, like if they're getting bet to Wexford.
mm.
Harry McInerney won 2 All-Irelands doing it. Might be too old for you lads though.
They were nearly parachuted into the semi-final of the 2 game season. Then it's
Well, like even I think Wexford like didn't even. Well, the crowd below was tiny as well. I don't think there was even 5,500 or something. I saw the figure, it nearly flew over. Like, but like people in Wexford probably just gave up. But then Like Galway just didn't even try, to be honest. Like Lee Chin had to walk at Wexford Park, like could literally done what he wanted. You know, and again, he's been around, I think he's in the 50 championship game as well. So he's been around a long time as well. Like, but Jesus, like Galway, what are they trying to achieve is what I want to know. Like, are they even where they go? What's their aim? Are they is it, we'll get to now a semi-final and we'll see can we rattle someone? Like, no one's going to be kind of half looking at me even with the performance so far. Like, you know, Limerick go out and just beat teams, you know, in Munster. And I look at what's going on in Munster and compared to this, like it's baffling, to be honest.
Looking at the table there, the table up there, like it's basically anything could happen. Anyone from Dublin, Wexford, or Galway could end up, or even Antrim could end up in a Leinster final. But like if Wexford beat Kilkenny, because one of the remaining, they'd have a great
Which is
chance of actually
possible.
making it. Yeah,
They bet last year, last game, didn't they, to go through?
yeah, but that was to stay up basically.
Stay,
But
stay up, was it? Sorry.
yeah, I think
But
Kilkenny
do Galway have to go to Parnell Park as well? Like, isn't the Galway management team from the 2017 All Ireland is all over Dublin? So like they'll be gunning for Dublin or for Galway.
No, that's in
Oh,
Pierce
is
Stadium.
it?
It's the last game, yeah.
Right.
But again, that they'll
Yeah.
both have something on the line likely that day.
Yeah.
You know, if
but like
anything, Dublin have a few tricky fixtures.
Dublin
Dublin
aren't.
have Kilkenny at home now.
Yeah, they're not going bad though. Dublin either. Like so.
But even then,
Well,
look, don't
Kenny
want
are
to be
down a
discounting
few as well.
Antrim. Dublin Antrim this weekend, lads. That that's Parnell Park, all right, but Antrim on a massive high there. Dublin, there's nothing to fear.
Yeah, another couple of weeks of training into the Dunley boys as well back, and yeah, they won't. They'll be looking forward to going to Parnell Park at the weekend. Like, if they could get a second win, that'd be huge for Antrim hurling.
Yeah, absolutely. If they could somehow manage a win there, it'd be the story of the season. GAAGo, lads, I think that's what the Cork Limerick game is on the weekend. Seems to be just not going away. If it turns into a cracker of a game, again, that very few people see, it's not the best promotion for hurling. I think we're getting a raw deal in the split of games.
I don't mind GAAGo, and maybe that's because I have it and I'm able to use it or whatever, But I think the point about the promotion of hurling is a huge one, and if we want to, or if the GA want to promote hurling in the weaker counties, like as we all say, if you draw a line across Dublin to Dublin and Galway, everything above that, if you want to promote hurling in those weaker counties, it has to be free to air. They have to be able to see the Munster Championship. They have to be able to see the excitement, the crowds, the skills that are on show, and that's how we promote it.
But even Mike, if you're a Dublin hurling fan, you're not even getting to see your team on GAAGo or RT.
They're not on this weekend.
Yeah, they're not on it. They're hardly ever on it.
Yeah, and I think isn't that like what the Carlow and Antrim guys are saying as well, like that they get maybe 3 minutes at the end of the Sunday game where they show one of the scores. Nobody really analyzes the game, and it's done. Whereas the Sunday game are analyzing the game that was on that day, which doesn't really make sense, like So
yeah, look, it's because there is a few simple things you could do, in terms of promotion, like a highlights program for just maybe 4 weekends out of the year. It's only when there's this level of games on. Have a Saturday game and have a Sunday game. Put maybe
or even show up back, like even have the game accessible free to air on the Monday or Tuesday or somewhere online, and not have someone else have to rip the video and upload themselves on, that carry on, like you watch the match back. Like.
Well, I think saying, look, football will get its opportunity for the shop window later in the summer when the Super 8s or whatever the group games have, like where they're coming to a finish and all that. That's their natural shop window, kind of something verging on knockout football there.
What do you lose? Like, you lose the provincial final. This is the issue. Like, you lose the football finals that have to be shown, don't they? Like?
They have to be shown to form, but I think the Saturday evening, that's the slot is there. It's just at the moment it's the GAAGo slot. But if the game is big enough, I'd say RTE.
And there's a rugby slot at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, it's probably League of Ireland as well, like, but it's probably for a month out of the year, like, it's not, we're not asking for too much.
You have to admire the rugby lads that obviously are talking when they're doing these contracts, because they make sure that every game is, if you want to show the Six Nations, you show the Ireland women's team on the Friday night free to
Yeah,
air
it's
as well,
under
and
20s and all that
Yeah.
shit.
yeah, or whatever it is, and they tie in everything with it. Like the GA have to get better at doing that. It's like if you want 31 games, which I think is the figure that the GA package has, you have to show all the Joe McDonough games, or you have to, we have to get better at the negotiations. But then the problem being that GAAGo is jointly owned by RT and the GA, so they have vested interest in keeping
Yeah, well,
in the
like it's
subscription.
definitely, I would say that the Munster hurling's definitely lost leader up there, or like designed to attract. Because if you strip away maybe Munster Championship game, a few club football or not club football, the round robin football games later in the summer, there's not a whole pile on like it's GA to make it worth the subscription.
There's 78 games on it, so I suppose if you're just an overall GA
Mm.
fan, you probably do get the. And there was a deal, was it €80 back in
Yeah,
kind of
did
around
a bring
69 at
it for
Christmas
Christmas,
time?
the
no? It
renewal.
was a
Yeah,
good
Christmas,
deal.
yeah, €70, yeah. Um, but like Cork fans are definitely getting a raw deal on Cork hurling fans. I mean,
Yeah, it
this
was
is their
us
third
last year.
game in a yeah, this is their third game in a row on GAAGo. So, um,
But
It's the
like as
wrong
well, it's
wrong thing to be
great that
doing.
anywhere can kind of show it. We're in Roar More GA Club there in Watford on Saturday, and went in. They had was the Offaly game on, then the Wexford Galway game on, then the Tipp game on GAAGo on a big screen, and they're probably on 5 or 6 telly on a big screen, and they worked absolutely perfect. They're able to do it. Like this thing like are giving out they can't do it as well, aren't able to do it, or else their internet is shite, or else you don't know how to plug in a HDMI to TV. I've often seen people online going, "Oh, it's not working on my telly," and trying to plug in this and that. Like, it is great if you can work it. If you can't work it, there is ways to make it work. Like, this is why I'm getting thick with people that haven't even tried to fix it. Like, get it right once it stays working. Like.
Yeah, I don't think the debate is going to go away anytime this year. It's going to fester on in the background.
don't think
Uh,
GAAGo is going to go anywhere either, Kevin. It 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 just needs the scheduling probably it needs to be better. Like that's the best we can hope for from it. GAAGo is here to stay, and we probably will see more and more games going towards the GAAGo, because I'd say GATV is something that's going to. There's so many games now, and in that period between whatever April and July, that um like as much as we would like RT to be GATV, it can't be, because the other terrestrial programming has to be on. So there definitely will be a push towards the more games on GAAGo.
Speaking of a game that probably isn't on GAAGo this weekend, I'm going to take a wild stab at this. Was probably Antrim Tipperary in Corrigan Park. Sean, you going to this one on Sunday afternoon? Maybe get in a bit of the Causeway Coast while you're up there. The
It's on
Tailteann
Clubber,
Cup.
is it?
Yeah.
It's on Clubber, I think, isn't it?
Is it? Tailteann?
I think it is.
Jesus. Clubber's the
I saw
best
something
value
on. Yeah.
in the country.
I won't be there,
Well,
unfortunately, Kevin.
Yeah, I've no idea how Tip are going in this. Antrim have seem to have come on a bit in recent years, so that'll be tough enough. But again, like you're looking for that one win to get you into the knockouts of this thing, aren't you? Otherwise, it's a real short year for Tipperary in the need games to develop.
Yeah, one thing I will have to say I was very surprised with was there wasn't, like, the 20s did quite well. They win 2 or 3 games, and then they were beaten by Kerry in the semi-final. And there was a couple of good performers on that, and like Oren Jones, I think was the top forward, and was putting up 1-4, 1-5 most of the days, and didn't get a call up to the senior football panel. I don't think there was any additions to the senior football panel, and like we're not winning the Charlton Cup. We're in Division 4, in the bottom three of Division 4. We should be trying to develop players through the Charlton Cup. And surely guys like that were people that should be brought into the panel to see what's required of them, to see the standard that they need to get to Like it's.
I
think
don't know, Mike, if that's a finance
belief.
issue. Maybe they're carrying as much as they're allowed for the Challenge Cup, or how much the GPA kind of allow or whatever. Yeah, it is a
But
fair fine.
But there's room within the GPA charter. Like the GPA can't say you pick your 34 lads for the panel in April and you're stuck with them for the year. Like
No, but can the
Paul
Tipperary County Board say it?
no, but Paul Kelly can drop 4 lads off the panel and call up 4 lads. I mean, surely that's within the remit of the manager.
Mm.
And on football there, see, our minors got bet heavily by Kerry tonight, but they're close enough half time there before we started there. I think they're only a point two down.
Yeah,
half
point
time.
down half time, and Kerry
we
seemed to, I
lost
think it's
heavy in the end of
2-19
it.
to 11 or
Lost by
2-5, 14
14 in the end. 14 points in the end, So, like, the first half form is there would echo something, whatever happened in the second half. But, it's, you say it's underage, have to start developing to get up to get senior division leagues up again. Like,
they've seem to be getting a lot of games there, that minor cohort as well, between the Darrell Darcy Cup and
they had good wins there on the year, like, they were playing, they had good few wins there, like, and good mix.
I think it'd be disappointing for them that this is the second year in a row they've topped the round robin and then lost the Darrell Darcy final to it happened against Limerick last year and Clare this year.
Yeah.
That, like, we probably will never topple Kerry and Cork, but we want to be the best of the rest. If we want to get closer at senior level, like.
Absolutely. And look, you see Clare had their day in the sun against Kerry at the weekend, so it's not getting easier, is it, for the mid-ranking and the lower ranking counties to stay with the kind of super heavyweights in football?
Paddy Clifford did his best to get rid of the provincials at the weekend. I don't think he barely lifted the cup, didn't he?
He looked actually disappointed to be lifting it, to be honest.
Didn't he?
Yeah. It's like a pre-season competition, so.
Clare brought out start the match. There's a bit of, even looking on TV, it looked, for usually sometimes them games we half empty, but it's fair out buzz round.
Yeah, look,
Clare again, just trying to see Clifford, like.
Again, the GAA, there's a few easy wins from, like, and shifting Leinster finals out of Croke Park would probably be up the top of anyone's list.
Or charging €40, is it, for the final?
Yes.
Leinster final €40, no? Football.
Yeah, it's 30 for a round robin game, so for the Munster. So yeah, wouldn't be surprised it's 40 to see a turkey shoot. And then, like, Louth were in it last year, so it doesn't have the same novelty.
I was disappointed with the crowd at the Munster final because I thought Clare would bring more with it being in Ennis, but I think there was only 13,000 at it. I thought it would be more. Like, West Clare is a haven of football. Like, you can't you won't find a hurley if you go once you go west of Ennis. Like, so it's
maybe they're sick of coming
in. Walk in the park for Kerry, really, isn't it?
Yeah. No bother, man. Sure, look, we'll reconvene next week, hopefully, and plenty more to talk about. Might look at the Tipperary lineup for a very big game at Semple at home comforts, hopefully, against Cork. So, thanks a million.